Hey, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Extra Feature Entertainment with a fabulous guest whose new film is all over the circuit, guys. You need to go out and see independent film. Please go to your local film festivals and see this awesome film. So today in the house, I have Jeffrey St. Jules, the director. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I want to start off the very beginning of the film. We started off with a proverb right at the beginning. Why this proverb?
Well, the proverb is from the Oeans, who are the alien creatures in the film. And it sort of sets up the themes of the film, really, about, what these characters are trying to run away from themselves, but they can't run away from themselves. They have to confront themselves. So that's where that comes from. And it's also story-wise, it's the proverb that Naia's mother, one of the characters who is an alien, tells her daughter when she's young, the sort of advice she gives her.
I want to go back to I want to go right the first shot we see. We see a woman sitting in the park. The colors are so vibrant as compared to the rest of the film.
Hmm.
Now, did you plan on that to happen? Is that a color correction? Or the colors really that vibrant, or you just found a sweater that was that vibrant? The grass is so green.
Yeah, we wanted it to feel, on Earth, yeah, a little more vibrant in that, very green. Start on sort of grass nature contrasting the planet that they're going to end up on.
So
Yeah,
no
it's not.
color correction at all. That's
Oh
really
no, of course,
just
yeah. There's definitely color
okay.
correction. It made it a bit more saturated, but um, yeah, we just went a little more saturated on that than the rest. Yeah.
Okay. And you also, I would say, do maybe some minor color correction at your first location, which is a giant cave when the man walks
Mhm.
out. Like that is a beautiful. Where is this place also?
Yeah, this is all shot in Newfoundland.
Okay.
So it's a mix of there's like are you Canadian? Like
I am Canadian.
yeah, I thought so. Okay. Have you been to Newfoundland at all?
I've never been to Newfoundland. It's
Okay.
one I'm
So
missing.
there's yeah, it's beautiful. And this is, to be honest, the first time I went, even though I'm an East Coaster myself from Nova Scotia, but there's in Grossmore National Park, there's this place called the Tablelands where the Earth's mantle has been, it's like one of only two places in the world where the Earth's mantle is actually exposed. Um, so it's this really unique orange scenery. So we shot there, and then the cave stuff, the exterior cave is on a Bell Island, which is just like half an hour from St. John's. It's an island with these kind of cliffs and caves that was used for a lot of mining of iron back in the day.
How
So
did you discover this? Did somebody tell you, or I mean, obviously you're writing a script, or did you go there and write the script? How did that come about?
no, well, I wrote the script and then we're kind of trying to figure out where we'd shoot it. So in Canada, we're sort of balancing out what the best province is to be in to make our dollar go the furthest in terms of tax credits and whatnot. And the ones with the best scenery for it. So I just kind of was researching online all the different like geographic formations and different, like I live in Ontario and there's not that much here that would, Sudbury a little bit. We scouted there, but nothing like what they have in Newfoundland in terms of like the landscapes and the unique spots. So really, I just kind of going online, um, and then we connected with a Newfoundland producer, Mark O'Neill, who kind of made it all happen in that Newfoundland end of things for us. Uh,
So I want, sorry,
so no, go ahead.
I want to go into a little bit more of the locations, and then I'll go a little bit deeper in the film. The tiny house, is that like an actual real house, or is that like a CGI?
Yeah, their habitat.
Yes, I
So
want to get into the habitat more, but I want that first shot you showed me of the outside.
of the outside.
Yes.
Yeah, like the outside of the habitat. So
Yes.
so it's a mix. So we built that in studio, like the outside of it, but we couldn't bring that to our location for a few reasons. Like one is we're shooting in a national park, so we can't, there's restrictions, so we can't do a big build there. So what we did was we had the door of it. be something we could transport. So we brought the door, and then the rest of it we filled in with CG, but based on the one we built in the studio. So they went and took a bunch
Fascinating.
of pictures of the one in the studio, and then they recreated that in a CG build after the fact.
So, okay, so then you take me into the habitat. That's later. I want people to know it's not instantaneous, but the
Yeah.
habitat is beautifully inside. You have spent some time set designing this.
Yeah, that's all our production designer, Andy Barry, on that one. Yeah.
So, did you go over the stuff? Because I mean, some of the stuff I couldn't even figure out what it does. It's so futuristic. Some of the things, the water thing in the background is like that's kind of cool. And
Yeah, everything kind of had its purpose, and he really we had a reason for everything that's in there, and uh yeah, we wanted a look like the look we're going for is a bit retro. We wanted to have it call back to sort of old 70s sci-fi and whatnot. So we wanted that kind of very iconic spaceship shape and everything like that to it. But yeah, just thought about, what what would they need in this space, and we don't have a huge budget, so we're sort of repurposing other things to become something that would be futuristic.
but how hard is this to do a retro feel with a very slick looking science fiction film? I would say.
Um, how easy it to do? Well, I mean, we didn't want it to be like full on retro, just sort of like hints of it, stuff that calls back and gives it a little more playful feeling that way.
Okay, I'd like to say you introduced the music and it's beautiful, subtle piano. Was that always the plan? Like it just seems to make me feel comfortable here.
Okay. Yeah, there was like I was listening to a lot of Rachmaninoff when I was creating it, and when I'm writing a film, usually I have sort of a playlist of songs that are, but this one all it was Rachmaninoff. So we ended up using the Rachmaninoff as the first kind of cue. Then the rest is our composer Darren Fung, who I always work with. He's amazing. So yeah, we wanted something to sort of, it starts off kind of bombastic with the Rachmaninoff, and we wanted something that other things that were a little more quiet. And there's only about 30 minutes of music total. So we wanted all the music when it comes to be really effective, but to be a lot of silences and on this silent planet.
Now, do you let your composer in on what you're doing ahead of time, or do you send him a finished product, or how does that work?
We'll have discussions early on, um, but the work in earnest doesn't start till after we've kind of locked picture, and so he'll read the script, he'll sort of be involved along the way in certain ways, but we won't really dig into it until we've got the locked picture there for him to work with. So he might come up with, there was a couple things where I was like emailing him during our shoot to come up with a couple little musical ideas that I could kind of think about on set, um, uh, but not extensive work yet. Yeah.
Now, I want to go into the language of the book. When they flip through a book and you see writing, obviously
Yeah.
alien writing. Who created the book and what language is that based on?
So that was Hillary, who was doing our graphics. And yeah, she sort of tried a bunch of different things, and it wasn't really based on any specific language. She had this book of different types of script and everything, and was sort of getting inspiration from that. And her and Andy, the production designer, kind of worked together, and yeah, sort of built it, as something, I don't know, it just sort of felt right when they came up with this particular design for the language. Then Naya writes in that language, so Rihanna kind of had to learn to do that for the script for the movie. Um, but yeah, that was them. Yeah. So
Okay.
the design of the language was meant to feel like the way it sounds was very supposed to be very vowely, where I was thinking about whale music. and sort of a moany wailing sound, and this kind of looked a little bit like that to me.
Okay, then I want to discuss your black and white shot. I find you shot these very different than you shot the film. They're very distinctively different. It's like I'm watching two different films. Was that the plan?
Yeah, it wasn't always the plan. The kind of the black and white idea came later. It just felt like there's something, when it's when we cut to the aliens. So,
Yes.
the film's kind of straight. Um, but that's meant to feel very dreamlike memory. And just playing around and shaping it and editing it. We just kind of landed on this that felt that that almost shock of strangeness. It's like, oh, what's going on here? Feeling that just kind of worked. Um, with the glowing eyes and everything. Um, so we went with it, just sort of felt right. It wasn't a decision we made in shooting it, it's actually a decision we made in the editing process.
Yeah, I want to go stay on the aliens for a couple seconds here. I love the look. I like the way they moved. I thought it was kind of different and it worked for the scene. Was that something you had to work on or that was just a vision you had?
Yeah, it was a long conversations we had in the um in pre-production where so the go-to thing would have been to have a humanoid figure, do some prosthetics, but it just felt like we didn't have the budget to really make it totally uh, interesting, so it would have just looked like a person with different prosthetics, and I really didn't want that. But I wanted something that felt kind of iconic, um, a little bit mysterious, kind of lo-fi because I love lo-fi. Um, so I just did this little sketch of this blobby figure with a couple big eye holes, and I sent it to our production designer and Kita, our costume designer. And the idea was that it would be all blobby when they're sitting, and then this moment where of panic, there'd be this uh they would stand up and it would become really straight and it would be the head up on top of this long body. So we did this all kind of practical, where Kita built this. We like looked at all these different fabrics and looked at all these different types of things to make it. It's basically a paper mache, and then we had like a person underneath holding a big long stick.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and then that's attached into the head. So then to make it stand, the person would just stand, but as they're standing, they would lift the big long stick up so that it
Okay.
would like look like it's extending.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like doing lo-fi kind of playful stuff like that. Um, so that kind of developed as a conversation just from that little really rough sketch I did of this blobby alien figure, and then kind of Keita took that on and ran with it.
I think that's so. I loved it. Just want you to know, I absolutely
Yeah,
love the
okay, good.
aliens.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to talk about them. Okay, you have I don't know what you call it, a translator, maybe a talking white thing. I wrote. It's the thing that talks to her all the time.
Yeah, Janie.
I don't, is that
Yeah,
real or is that all CGI?
that was
Like the
all.
face,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing itself was real, which is the face on it was all
right?
CGI.
Now, did you have to work? I also want to know if the same voice for the computer is the same voice for Genie.
Same voice for the computer.
The computer talks to her at one point.
Oh,
You
that's all
get
Janie. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Anytime
Did,
she's talking, it's just Janie. That thing, like it's just there somewhere. You don't always see her, but yeah.
yes. Did you work on getting? You must have voice manipulated that some way, or is that woman really able to do her voice like that?
No, that was all her.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, I don't think we. I mean, we might have treated just a little bit um, to make it sound like it's coming from electronic thing, but it wasn't really affected that much.
Okay. In the black and white scenes, did you try for different eyes for the creatures? Because I find they pop beautifully.
Yeah, that was yeah, we played around with that like in the color grade and trying to figure out what the colors should be, how many of the eyes should be light up, when they should be lit up. And then we came to this thing of like the colors kind of shift. So it's a way, part of their communication. So when the mom's trying to calm Naya, it becomes more blue. When there's more panic, there's a bit of shift in that. Um, yeah, and kind of keeping it mysterious. Like we don't know what's underneath these. We don't know if this is what they're wearing is their body or if it's like a suit they're wearing and there's something else underneath. I kind of wanted to keep that a little mysterious.
Yeah, you have a shot of the two main characters in the film, and they're walking with wheelbarrows and matching outfits.
Yeah,
I thought the shot was beautiful. I want to know
yeah.
how long it took you to find matching wheelbarrows and exactly match those outfits.
Yeah, so we had this, we kind of based our color palette off of the Tablelands, which was all yellow like that. So the outfits were Kita found these old work outfits, kind of jumper things, and she modified them and dyed them and made them look like these. Then I think I can't remember if Andy painted, like our production designer, if they painted the wheelbarrows, but I think they might have found them in that color.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
remember them painting them. I'm not 100% sure. They might have painted it.
So when you were doing that shot, did you know you wanted that shot or that was just organic the way it appeared?
Um, the what sort of two shot where they're walking and talking?
Correct.
Yeah, that was planned. It was a challenge because it was hard to push those wheelbarrows along that ground. It was so bumpy and rocky, and um, we knew we wanted that. Yeah, it's just a like a kind of simple. We had a really long zoom lens, and we just kind of followed them on a zoom like you would have in the 1970s film in a walk and talk kind of thing. Um, yeah, so that was planned. Yeah, and we had a drone in that too, so you could get them from
Oh.
above. Yeah,
Aha, I was wondering, that's what I was looking for. I'm like, could have been
yeah.
drone shot. I think it was a
Yeah.
perfect shot for the film. I think it really encapsulates the world well there.
Oh, nice. Thanks. Yeah.
I find the rest of the time you keep me very tight in the world. Does that make sense? Even when I go to visit the alien, I'm tight. You're always
Yeah.
tight on these shots. And I
Yeah.
understand why. I don't want to ruin the film. So people need to watch the film, understand why we're tight, tight, tight. And that's
Yeah.
just nice. It's like a breath of fresh air I found during it.
Yeah. Like I love the intimacy of, just these two people in close-ups. And there's a long periods of time where it's just that. But yeah, sort of opening it up is also very important. And I like that contrast of sort of the micro and the macro, like the yeah, the
Yeah.
intimate and then the open, big open
Yeah.
space they're staying in.
So at one point, a green tent is easily ripped.
Green tent is easily
It's
ripped.
right near the end of the film. There's something they go through and it rips.
Oh, that's his greenhouse. Or
Oh,
she zips
greenhouse, sorry.
unzips it.
Yeah. Oh, it unzips it.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Did it look like she was ripping
It
it?
looked like she ripped it. I was like, that's pretty impressive how fast that was going. So she just unzips at that point.
Yeah, it's his greenhouse. In the beginning of the movie, you see him in a greenhouse, kind of watering his plants and stuff.
Yes.
Um, so when she kind of escapes from there, she goes through the little tunnel and is in his greenhouse and runs out.
Okay. Shooting in low light. I find the film takes a very different turn later on. Now, how
Hmm.
is shooting in low light so much different than before? 'Cause before, I find this film's very bright. I would say friendly, honestly friendly at times.
Yeah.
And then you take me near the end, and I just go to a different place. Was that pre-planned? And how was that
Yeah, well,
shooting?
we shot all the night scenes we shot day for night. Um, and that was partly for practical reasons, obviously, but also, you know, we imagine this planet didn't get pitch dark. It's said very offhand, you might not even notice it, but like that she refers to 14-hour days. So like days are shorter and it doesn't get fully, and there's sort of green hue. So we really like that day for night look where, there'd be almost feeling a bit like dusk all the time, but like a dark dusk. Then of course, it is a bit of a descent into darkness. So, the first where they're meeting and getting to know each other, it's a little more just, neighbors getting to know each other. But then it goes into a darker place, as you know. So
I
yeah,
do want to state I love the purple smoke. I thought it just was a nice contrast throughout the film.
next, yeah.
I have nothing else. That's just wanted to give you a compliment.
Thanks.
Casting of the two film. I mean, did you have these two actors in mind the whole time, or did you?
Not the whole time, no. We sort of, I love Elias. He's, obviously one of our great actors. Um, and just when we kind of landed on him in the casting process, just like so perfect, you just look at his face and you feel like this character. Um, and he really connected with it. So like he meant a lot to him. It felt like so we're very lucky in that way that he kind of, it wasn't just a job for him. It was something that he was really felt really important to him. Um, and yeah, just you just feel for him, like there's so much like humanity and empathy in Elias. Um, and Brianna I didn't know before making the film. She sort of came up in the casting process. And, I watched the film she had done, and she's, really very precise, very, there's so nuanced, like really, really, really talented person for somebody who's got two movies under a belt. And on set, just super, you would never imagine that she's only done two movies. Um, and then we didn't do like an audition, we just kind of met and chatted over Zoom, and she got it and had a good conversation. So it just felt right. Um, and yeah, no, it's two great people to work with, like really, really nice people on set, and really collaborative. And it's kind of nice doing a movie with just two actors the whole time, and you just, that's it. You don't have to get more than that, and it just becomes very intimate in that way.
How long did the film take from start to finish?
Including like writing and everything.
Yes.
Uh, I guess when did I start writing this? I guess right after I finished my last one. So it would have been 2019 I started writing it.
Okay.
So not too bad,
No, that's not bad.
relatively.
We all have
Uh,
lives.
yeah,
We gotta
yeah,
do
it
other
took me
things.
like 10 years on my first film. So
Good.
um but yeah, and that's the period of obviously I'm not working on it all the time. But
Of course not.
the script, and then a few years trying to raise the money.
That's
The
the hard
shoot
part.
was only 18 days, which
Uh,
was very short. But yeah, would love to have more.
okay, I'm gonna move on to some fun questions for you. So just
Okay.
relax. These are easy. Your first time on the show, I need your favorite film.
Oh, my favorite film. My favorite film, it's not written in stone. Uh,
Nobody's is.
Often my go-to would be to say 8.5. Um, the films that had the biggest influence on me were probably like Eraserhead. Um, well, also 8.5. Gosh, Umbrellas of Cherbourg is one of my favorites.
Ooh, nice pick.
Uh, yeah, I love that movie. Just like beautiful human. Uh, yeah, I guess I'd say between 8.5 and something like that. Changes from day
Your
to day, to be honest.
sci-fi planet you would like to visit.
Oh gosh. Sci-fi planet I would like to visit. What are my options?
Well, I wouldn't say Dune.
Yeah, I was thinking, dude, like Arrakis, is that the planet?
Arrakis is the planet.
Did love that. I did love that planet. I don't know if I'd want to visit it though. What are my other options? Trying to think of sci-fi planets off the top of my head
Well,
here.
most of the Marvel planets probably are pretty good. I mean, the one
Yeah,
that
I'm not super into the Star Wars. I don't think I'd want to visit the Star Wars planets.
okay,
I'm thinking
don't worry.
Solaris. I don't want to visit Solaris. That
No, I wouldn't want. You might. That
uh,
would not be a good planet. Don't worry about it. We'll move
The
on to
best
the next
movies
one.
have planets I actually wouldn't want to visit.
Okay, last question. One film you recommend to people, but they should be watching.
One film that I would recommend to people that they should be watching.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Umbrellas of Cherbourg again because
Yeah.
people
Which
don't.
is I have no issues with that
Yeah.
choice. Okay. Tell everybody where they can find your great work.
Uh, well, where is it? Where is it? Bang Bang Baby, my first feature. I believe it's on Crave in Canada. Um, I don't. I'm sure if you just Google it, my first film is called Bang Bang Baby. It's pretty easy to find. I think it's on Stars on Crave or something here. Um, there's one of my films on the NFB website, Let the Daylight into the Swamp. Uh, yeah.
Thank you for your time and have a great day.
All right. Thanks so much.